3PNR with Adam R. Welcome to 3PNR. I'm your host, Adam R. And joining me again is Harley Black from Haunting the Haunts. Harley, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Adam. Thank you for having me again. I'm happy to be here.
Indeed. Our conversation today is fun, right? It's going to be about movies, the ones that scared us and entertained us. So, to open, first off, let's start with this. How are things going with you? Everything good? Life's good? We were just talking about the weather. That's strange. Especially, we were discussing Minnesota and Florida similarities. Here in Florida, we have a hurricane, and then it's sunny weather immediately after. Craziness.
Right. And in Minnesota, you have your heat on in the morning and your AC on in the evening.
Yeah, it's insanity. No complacent. So before we get started, let's remind everyone again about where they could find you and what it is you do.
I'm a parapsychologist. You can find me at hauntingthehaunts.com. We do historical tours down at the Suites Hotel in Leroy, Minnesota. And we'll be starting those coming up at the end of May. So just check our website for updates.
Excellent. Let's start with something that disturbed me. All right. Child's Play. I thought that was nonsense. It turns out it's based on a real doll called Robert. And from what I'm reading here, it was given to this gentleman, right? And
Right.
It was, I guess, possessed or haunted or whatever it was, and it caused major turmoil. And even for people that have seen this thing in the museum, who, you know, I guess they threw slang words at it and made fun, poked fun, it gave them like bad luck. I literally thought that story was nonsense, but it was actually based on a real doll, and then it was, you know, given the look of the My Buddy, I guess, from the 80s. What did you? I'm sure you watched those movies, yeah?
Absolutely. Actually, I heard that, Robert, if you take a photograph without asking his permission as well, like your luck goes really badly and you'll have a car accident or heart attack. It's insane. And like people write apology letters to him. So his museum coordinator actually reads the letters of apology to Robert on a daily basis. They get him that much. It's insane.
That scares me. There's like things like, you know, I discussed it with you before and other people. Aliens don't bother me. They're a physical thing. And, you know, if you subtract the technology and they're in my house, I feel like I could beat one up. Right? A pretty strong dude. A ghost, on the other hand, or a spirit, is just some form of raw energy that you really may or may not see. And if it decides to harass you, there's not really much you could do about it.
That's true. We were talking about that the last time we spoke, and I think it was Black Ops 2, The Guardian. That's what we need to invent.
Yeah, exactly. Because imagine you wake up every day, you make your coffee, shit knocks your coffee off the counter. You're to the point where you're exhausted with art or like freaking out. So you just make another cup of coffee, hope it doesn't knock it over. And then you're on, like, say, per se, a work call or a podcast, and it's harassing you the whole time. That's a nightmare.
That's kind of like the haunting in Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
Where like every day they were having the cupboards opening and slamming, like people were being raped, according to what I read on this online.
Yeah.
And they had to call the worms. They called Zappos in, like they were being assaulted. Like it's bad enough having your coffee thrown, but like to be raped or just beat up by somebody that I can't see.
Yeah. You know, and then maybe I was a little critical on some of the episodes I'd said to, you know, some of these energies pre-exist, you know, they predate man and religion. And if you have a priest in there and he's spitting off religious jargon, that it's this entity's probably, fuck, what's this guy talking about? It's not bothering me. But now the result is I have a reverend coming on and an archbishop. One guy does exorcisms, the other one studies the world of spirits. So I'm in for either a treat or a really harsh lesson, one or the other.
You know, I think it's no matter which spectrum you're on, it's always like just words of caution because things can go really, really bad.
Right.
But we're willing and are knowledgeable enough to know the consequences, but we just don't care. We just jump in anyhow.
Yeah. It's I'm one of those, I guess. I'm not going to classify myself as hard-headed, more like stupid brave. Like I would be the guy, like I said to you before, like I'm the guy who goes in a movie, I die right away. I don't have a very long part because I kind of know what it is. To cover that though, on that subject, Nightmare on Elm Street, also based on a real event. And this one bothered me a lot. In 1981, a bunch of 21 men in Laos were dying from nightmares. Like they were screaming in their sleep and then like, I guess having heart attacks or strokes or whatever, but they were dying and screaming in fright. And they classified that, scientists that investigated this called it nightmare death syndrome. That's a real thing. That bothers me a lot.
Have you ever like woken up like and you're like in like that cold sweats and like you're scared but you're kind of crying? Like I have, and it's like that's just a bad dream. Like you come to, but to like wake up dead.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. I've had bad dreams. Like I've woken, not even about creatures or demons and shit. I've had the dreams that wake me up are like tsunamis, right? Like I have this, maybe it's an embedded fear from childhood, but I always had this weird dream that a giant wave's coming at me and that it's like stormy out and dark. You know what I mean? If you could put that in your mind, and it's like by a boating yard. And there's always like this massive body of water coming in. And I wake up from those. And here it is. I live in Florida, right by the coast, right? I'm insane.
That is nuts.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are my fearful dreams. Like, I don't think I've ever had a dream with some sort of entity that I woke up from.
No, me neither.
Yeah. Another dream I've had that was troublesome I woke up from is, I woke up from a dream of I guess, and this is a long time ago, and this is how profound of an effect it had. I was in my teens. And at the time I had a white Chevy Caprice, a box Chevy. I love that car. And it had a V8 engine in it too, not to brag, but anyway, in the dream, I could see a newspaper clipping and the car's wrecked. And I guess I'm in heaven or wherever that is you go to. And I'm on the phone with my ex-girlfriend and I'm apologizing to her. And that dream, like I woke up sad from it. Right. So that woke me up, but I never forgot that dream. Very detailed. But for you, and what movies have you come across that, you found out a real story that troubled you?
So I went way, way back, and I went to the 1800s, and the house or House of the Devil. Sorry, there we go. It's a 3-minute silent film with a mime, and it is so creepy. They have like ghosts with like the bubonic plague, like doctor masks on. And this person is like a magician, and it's like the very first vampire film, but like the filmmaker like was an actual magician, like real life.
Huh.
So yeah, it was just, that one was creepy.
I think I know what you're talking about, where they had like cone like shaped mask on their face.
Right.
Yeah, I did see clips and I never looked any further into it. I always thought that was nonsense too, but that's stemming from something. I guess if you're speaking in terms of the bubonic plague, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, they didn't really have our technology.
No, they just like stuffed them full of herbs and stuff.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
That's creepy.
That mask.
Yeah, that mask. Now that image is in my head, 'cause I do recall seeing those clips. That makes it more creepy to know that stems from something realistic. I started watching this thing on Netflix. I haven't finished it yet. It's called Archive 81. Have you seen it?
I have not.
You got to watch that show. So there's a black dude in the show. He basically fixes old tapes, to restore them anyhow. And without blowing the plot, I want to go into the plot, but he's restoring this and he finds something paranormal involved with one of the tapes. They have him in this site, and he's very composed through this whole thing. He's never really freaked out, or he's had some emotional moments. But I remember watching the show, I'm like, how the hell is this guy holding himself together? Like, not even the fact of being scared, but to make room psychologically for what you're going through. It's creepy. Like, I referenced that because in old movies, in the old Friday the 13th, it came down to this. Don't get naked and hang out with your boyfriend or girlfriend. You're going to die, right?
That movie is my soul. I have platinumed that Friday the 13th on PlayStation. I am obsessed with Jason Voorhees. I love him.
Yeah, I mean he's a very iconic figure. You have to love that movie. But admittedly, it goes in this term. He seems to target those who are becoming intimate, right? Like, so if I'm in that movie, let's say we go rewind time, I'm at Crystal Lake and I see a girl take her top off. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? We're going to die now. Have you not heard about all the other cases? Right. So is it an example? I don't know. Watching those movies for you though. I mean, if you, especially on the game, what is it? PlayStation? I did see those.
Yeah.
I'm told those are creepy games. Yeah.
They are. There's all the camp counselors, and then a player is Jason, and you can fight him just like in the movies they do. They have all the different camp sites there. Yeah, it's an amazing game. I definitely recommend it to everybody.
Huh, I'll try it out. I like jump scares. I'm one of those. I like those little jump scare games. Here's another one too. This one. Based on, it's kind of 3-in-1, right? It is Psycho, Texas Chainsaw, and Silence of the Lambs. And it's, I thought that was fiction too. All right. But it's based on this guy called Ed Gein. It was a serial killer. You hear about that?
Over in Wisconsin. I actually know all about him. I've actually been to his property. Well, the old property, whatever. It's not his anymore, I suppose.
I never heard of this guy till I started researching this. This is a big deal what he did. This is bigger than Dahmer.
Yeah, pretty much. He had a belt made of nipples.
Oh my God.
Lampshades. Literally, all his furniture in the home was made from human, body parts and skin.
Yeah,
that
bones.
He leathered.
Yeah, I was reading he had skulls he used for bowls. He had spare body parts all around the house. And he was making a suit to as a tribute to his mother, made out of people.
She was one of those super overbearing, very religious women that kind of kept her children, Ed and his brother, under her thumb. And he just kind of got warped mentally from all of that. And I guess just wanted to be like her. I heard that he even dug her up after she passed.
That's creepy, man.
Kept her upstairs in the house.
That's creepy. And so that was in Wisconsin, huh?
Yeah.
Ed Gein, whenever you look up serial, because I've spoken to some, I had homicide detectives on the show. We talked about some of the serial killers they dealt with, but this guy, it blows. Maybe it's my fault. I don't research enough or pay attention, but. Whenever you look up serial, you type the word serial killer into your search engine. Of course, Ted Bundy pops up, Jeffrey Dahmer, BKT. This guy's a full-blown scary freak. That freaks me out.
He was just one of those loners out there. He just went to town to help out people with odds and end jobs just for a couple bucks here or there. He never had a real full-time job. From what I've read, he wasn't quite developed as an adult, so he was a bit on the slower side, and just he had a very twisted outlook on how things should be going in life.
Yeah, even I don't know, it bugs me. I think about it now, and I'm like, what if I came across this guy? You look at images of him, and a lot of serial killers, not all of them. There's some of them they're ginormous men, but. When you look at the majority, they look relevantly harmless.
Oh, absolutely. He was a very petite, kind of frail man, very shy, bashful, always had the head down. So nobody really saw it coming, especially the bartender woman that he ended up actually murdering. It was just so left field because you would never have expected it.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading that they don't even have a real head count for his victims, right? Because they didn't have DNA then. But they said there was enough tissue and bone in there to represent a large body of people. So he's luring people. Did they ever, I didn't look that deep into it. Did they figure out how he was getting his victims?
No, he actually didn't. He only killed, I believe, 2 people. They believe his brother as well, but that's sketchy. He is just a missing person. All the rest of the body parts, he was actually going and digging their bodies up after they had been buried in the cemetery. So he was grave robbing. And that's how he had collected the mass amounts of parts to uh, have the decor in his home.
That disturbs me more now.
And then the people were like so angry in the town, they actually went and burned down his house and the barn and everything. And that lot has now just remained like overgrown and vacant ever since then. Like nobody can buy it. You're not allowed to go there. If like they see your vehicle like near the property, they'll like pull over and start hollering at you. It's quite intense. They're still in their feels over that one.
Is there any paranormal connections to that place? Like any hauntings that you know of?
Yes, I have investigated there. The EMF is off the chart there. It is very, very eerie. I feel like there's a lot of people there that had their bodies robbed from their graves that are very, very unhappy.
I'd say plus him too, right? Because those are his trophies. And he died in a mental institution, I believe.
That's correct. He was not able to stand trial. He wasn't fit. And so I believe he died in 1984.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know, man. That story, the Jeffrey Dahmer thing, of course, that's creepy. This guy was dining on people and, predatory. People should be just very disturbed by Ted Bundy. That guy was handsome and he was outgoing. He was like a regular person, legit. He just had a different side to him.
We got to circle back to Jeffrey Dahmer, though.
Yeah.
That man made a shrine. He made blueprints for how he wanted the skulls, like kind of like a woman's like vanity, like a little dresser, with the mirror and all that, where our like makeup would be. He had that same type of setup, but with human skulls and their bones that would make this vanity. And so when the cops showed up, they found the blueprints and everything, and then the Polaroid photos of what he did to these men that were just literally the most heinous thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen like a deer gutted, like fielded.
Yeah.
Okay, now like flip that deer inside out, bend it over backwards, and that was the photographs that Jeffrey was taking of these men.
Jesus, man.
And then after that, then he'd take their like bodies, throw them in vats of acid, wait for all of the stuff to come off the bones, take their bones out of the vat of acid, and then bring it to the back bedroom of his apartment to then continue with his hot glue gun and constructing his vanity of horrors.
Man, why? Wow. Like that's something about him I didn't know, right? I didn't fall too deep into that. I didn't know he had shrines in the house. I mean, they did say they found like a head in his freezer or something like that, right?
That was his one. He had like a whole, I'm like, oh, the serial killer Wikipedia. I could go on forever. But he had like one of those giant chest freezers full of like heads and body parts and legs and arms that were ready to like be put into the vats of acid, because he had like 5 or 6, I believe, that had already had existing body parts in there. He was like waiting to like cycle them through,
Yeah, he did have barrels of shit in there. I didn't realize it. That's crazy. My God.
You want to know how he was caught? This is so crazy. So he had picked up this young man. And so he would actually, okay, let me start from the beginning. So when he was like picking up these men, all he wanted was a man to like stay with him and love him forever. And then they could be boyfriends, be happily ever after. But then like these dudes would want to be like, I got to go though. I can't live here and like stay with you forever. So then he started taking like a sleeping meds and giving that into them in a cocktail. And then he would take a drill gun, drill a hole in their head, pour like scalding hot water into their brain cells to like try to like zombify them. So then they would just be like marionette puppets, I guess, that were like alive and would love him, but it didn't work out because then they perished, because that like doesn't work out well.
So these victims were all failed experiments.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. So then the last kid, so he like drugs him, but the kid like kind of like snaps out of it. He's butt naked and he's under 18, mind you. And he runs out of the apartment building, goes up to 2 women walking down the street, and he's like just mumbling gibberish because he can't speak, right? Because of all the sleeping meds that he was given. Jeffrey comes up and was like, hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, this is my boyfriend and he's going to come back with me now. And Jeffrey like, no, like he's naked and like doesn't look like he's okay. And he's going to come with us and we're going to call the police now and like save him from you because you're weird. And then when the police came up to like check on Jeffrey and see what was going on, they saw the Polaroids of the inside out freaking fielded man. And that's how I caught him.
Jesus, man. Meanwhile, I go in public and you have me on social media. I'm a pretty big dude, tattooed, you know what I mean? So when I'm sitting somewhere, they're probably, keep your eyes on that weirdo right there. Meanwhile, there's a guy sitting across from him. He's got, like a sweater on, glasses, regular looking white guy who probably kills 6 people a day. But I'm getting attention, it's
with a sweater vest.
Yeah, it gives you perspective, right?
I'm afraid of men with sweater vests now, or turtlenecks.
Like Jeffrey Dahmer, man. Why didn't he? Here's what I don't understand. Like a lot of these people for these horror films and these scare movies, they base it on these people. But why didn't science collect this guy? Why put him in prison? Study this dude. Hook shit up to his brain. Figure out what makes him tick. That guy's flat out nuts to do what he does. He would be, if I was in charge, Jeffrey would be in a petri dish until I figured out what makes this guy like him. It's nuts.
So they actually did do that, but because he was arrested in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, well, they don't have the death penalty there, right? So they put him in just regular prison with regular people. And then he ended up being beaten to death with a dumbbell by another prisoner, which is ironic because that's how the first guy died. His first victim died was by a beating to death with a dumbbell.
Huh. All right. So wait, Jeffrey's from Wisconsin. Ed Gein is from Wisconsin.
Right.
What's going on in Wisconsin?
Oh, wait. So then John Wayne Gacy is from Chicago. It's like the Midwest.
Yeah.
I think it's the winters up here. We just go cabin fever, bananas, and
imagine if serial killers had a vacation thing. If you're from the Midwest and white and very bored and just lusting for blood, call us here. It's crazy. What the BKT kid? Well, he was Boston, right?
Mind torture kill. I believe he was East Coast.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. But so far, the Midwest has got some gruesome nonsense going on out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why they offer us so many timeshares.
Yeah. I mean, listen, like Ted Bundy, people don't realize, for those of you out there, and I've said this a lot, and I'm going to reiterate this again. For those of you out there who get aggravated when you get pulled over by the police for, I don't know, speeding or lights out, keep in mind, that's how they found Ted Bundy.
Oh my gosh.
A traffic.
Dennis Strader is from Kansas. He's Midwestern too.
Oh my God. That's so. Moral of the story is if you're from the Midwest and you're absolutely bored, you have bloodthirst.
Hey, so this has been a great chat. I'm out.
Yeah.
Dang it.
It's creepy. It's creepy. So back to movies, right? And I've highlighted some of the ones that I like. Scream's another one. I didn't realize. I thought for certain was just some creative mind that made a crazy thrill movie, but it was based on shit in my state, Gainesville. Like there was a murder spree in Gainesville, and it was more based on the fear of it could just be one of your friends, and that's where he got the concept from. But
are you talking about after the movie came out or prior? Because there was a Scream reenactment by 2 individuals that were in high school still.
Well, prior to that was the ones in Gainesville I read, but was there a post?
Bear with me 2 seconds.
Yeah. That's got my attention, by the way. That's
yeah. So I actually just watched the video. They were high school kids, and they were just adamant. They had a blueprint, and they just knew exactly what they were going to do. And they actually ended up murdering one of their friends and just saying, well, she had to die because, somebody has to. And they had this whole plan on how they were going to go around and just pretty much reenact the Scream movie. I
did hear about that now. Now that you remind me of it, I did hear about that. There's another movie too, and this one should bother a lot of people. It's called The Girl Next Door. And it's not like a villain, like a creature. It's just some kids and a lady who were abusing a girl. They kept her, captive for a very long period of time, and they were just doing unspeakable things to her. And that was real. And that,
Yeah.
did you ever hear that movie, The Girl Next Door?
Yeah, it was a mother and her 7 children that tortured and murdered this girl. It was disgusting.
That's
Like,
crazy.
I've got kids, and I could never look at my kids and be like, "Hey guys, guess what we're doing today? We're gonna torture somebody I locked up in our basement.
Yeah, you guys
We're gonna have ice cream."
want to play?
Like-
We're gonna play a new fun game. It's called Real Pinata. Whatever comes out of them, you win. Yeah. I don't know.
Sorry, it's not Laffy Taffy.
Yeah. 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 Well, let's see who get the most kidneys. We'll sell them on the market. You know,
There you go.
yeah, it's like, so we all know The Exorcist is based on something real. I mean, I'm alleging this anyway, but that's what I read.
Rolento. Yep.
That one's, that's another one that bugs me because it leads back to what I said initially. Like if something's in front of my face, Bigfoot, aliens, I could either use strength to tackle one of those or an elephant gun. Because so that's in the realm of you could do something. But again, when it comes to that spirit thing, what do? Like what? So The Exorcist, I read that the priest tried to intervene and it nearly cost him his life. One of them anyway. And this demon was something that predates Catholicism, right? Because in the movie they try to say it was a demon known within Catholicism or, Christianity, but it predates that. And I think that's why the big pushback, right? They had a hard time removing it.
Right. So that's what I was led to believe. And the only reason that we even found out about any of this was just because of the diary that was kept that somebody found in a desk after the fact.
Yeah. There's a movie I watched with my Aunt Jeannie. I think it was 2011. It's called The Rite. And
Anthony Hopkins.
that guy creeps me out, man.
Oh my gosh, that is my man, like old man crush for life. I would do the most horrific things to him.
Yeah, but the way he stares.
I love it. Oh my gosh, especially how he talks on Silence of the Lambs. That just does it for me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so imagine, like, even me, even if I'm bigger and stronger than that guy, and I'm trying to be intimidating, he's just sitting there plain face staring at me talking. That shit creeps me out. Because he doesn't even flinch, right? Like, did you watch those movies? He doesn't even flinch.
Yeah, he's super sexy. I love Anthony Hopkins with all my heart.
You represent a large body of people. As I looked into sort of Silence of the Lambs, and I looked into, what is it? Red Dragon's another one based on a European thing that might have happened. And I'm waiting to get confirmation on it yet because the internet. The internet's going to tell you what you want to hear versus what's real. Some of the stuff we're talking about today, not just seeing them in videos, but I did due diligence. I made a lot of calls, and a lot of them are grounded in realistic events. But for movies' sakes, they make it a little more fantastic. The Robert doll, that thing. Looking at that's creepy. What kid's like, hey mom, I want that? What kid is that? Maid hands that. If the maid hands me that doll, it says here for you, I throw it away. That thing's creepy looking.
How do you feel about Annabelle then, the Raggedy Ann doll?
I was gonna talk to you about that. What's your take on that? I hear a lot of things.
I have, I believe, 9 or 10 Raggedy Ann dolls.
Damn, you're in.
That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, you're in. You're all in on that. I don't like dolls. I don't like dolls.
I don't either, but I have a boatload of porcelain dolls. I just actually got one that was made in 1890.
Girl, you're in.
I know. So this is my theory in my pretty little head.
Okay.
So I have all of these different artifacts from all over the country that are tied to some sort of just horrific event in history, or they are just super old and just kind of going off the stone tape theory. Now I've taken all these artifacts, smashed them into a little, let's say 10 by 10 little room, and eventually I'm going to bring home something that either starts my house on fire, blows it up, or something crazy happens.
Or you wake up and breakfast is made and it's sitting there because it doesn't know it's dead.
Oh my gosh, I just bought chickens. I did. I just bought 6 of them.
I mean, like people closely associate these spirits with something evil or angry, or what if you wake up and it's it's sitting there watching the news, and you look at it like, what the, and it's like, what? it's just having Monday. That's all.
Why are you watching the news? That is so negative. You should be watching anything else in the world.
Agreed.
I don't even care.
I reference the news because imagine you're dead, and then you have this, you find someone that brings you your home, and now you're in this place where because when you're, I imagine anyway, when you're on the other side, you're not seeing things. You only see what, like when, who told me this? When you imagine yourself, you always see yourself in a younger version, a better looking version. I mean, I do anyway, or maybe I'm a narcissist. I'm not sure. But when you pass, the image of it's like in the Matrix, your digital, your digital self. Well, this is more like your mental self. And that's how you appear. Now imagine you come to materialize in some house and the reality hits you. Shit, I'm dead. And I missed out on a lot of stuff. I mean, that's why I watch the news or scope TV and figure out where am I? What's going on today, right?
Yeah, if I died in 1910, now I flash forward to 2022, 112 years later. Yeah, I suppose I'd watch the news and be like, what the heck?
Yeah, or a documentary.
What you guys do?
Yeah, because if you died in 1910, documentaries didn't even exist, and it was handwritten notes, right? Today you could watch it. Then you have to explain to the ghost that too. Like, hold on, there's this thing called YouTube. Get off the TV. What are you doing? Yeah.
I told you I just bought a house that was built in 1910, right?
Yeah, you did. What was the motivation for that? Just for like the dolls, right? I'm going to make this house. Maybe you're doing what I think I should be doing. Because I've never witnessed anything, but I'm going to find a way. And maybe that's what you're doing, yeah?
So I don't want a haunted house, actually. I really don't. But I'm too dumb to take proactive steps to not have it occur. If that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're buying all the right stuff to have a haunting. You bought a 1910 house. You got a bunch of dolls and artifacts.
I know.
We're going to see about you in the news, right? Like,
oh my gosh. Do you know how amazing that would be?
Yeah. Mailman reports lady's house. Mailman dropping mail off. Doll slaps him.
I will at least talk to the cameras, unlike that Ammons woman out in Ohio.
What is it?
Richard, the Ammons house out in Ohio where her kid was possessed. He walked up the walls backwards. They had child services out there that witnesses, police officers witnessed it. Then Zach Baggins, my TV husband, shout out to him. I love him so much. He doesn't know he loves me yet, but it's okay.
Well, you're putting it out there. It'll get
crazy.
To him.
Yeah, I love him. I really do. I would marry him before Anthony Hopkins. Anyway, so he went and bought the house, did an investigation there for a couple of years. And that's how his eyes got damaged was due to the entity there. And then he decided to tear down the house, but he took the staircase to the basement, like a bunch of dirt, to his Las Vegas museum.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's why he wore glasses now.
That is why, yeah. Because he sees double vision.
So yeah, I didn't know. I didn't
incident at that house.
I didn't realize they were corrective. I mean, I don't know. It is on TV. People do shit just to have a certain look, but now I know. So
You do, yeah.
I don't know. I don't not subscribe to some of the TV shows, but I have a hard time subscribing to the TV show because I know how it goes. There are some people that legit go out there to investigate. That's what they want to do. But in order to get a paycheck and to maintain ratings, they're like, look, man, I need you to have something scary, and then we're going to deliver at the end of the episode, but we're not going to really deliver. We'll really deliver at the end of the season. We need to keep them attached to the show. That's why I like a lot of some of the people I've spoken to in the paranormal investigators have YouTube channels, like Spectra Waves, Don and Laney. They get right to business. They don't have lengthy 30-minute episodes. This is what we got. Here's the evidence. There's no play in that. I could watch those all night. But I hate when I watch a show and they're like, all right, what do we got here? And commercial. You're like, shit. So then commercial rolls. They, of course, reiterate everything that happened for approximately 5 minutes. And then they get to that part and you're like, what happened? Do you find that a lot?
Did you hear that? Did you guys hear that? No? Nobody else heard that? Okay. That's all you hear. over and over. See, but that's why I have Discovery Plus. So I like have to get to skip all the commercials.
Yeah.
But it's for TV. And I mean, I told you in our last conversation, like I will literally make fun of paranormal investigating and make spoof videos where I've got one out there where I walk into my home and every single cupboard in my house is open, right? I've got my dining room chairs on top of my table. And it's so unexplained, you guys. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. Why would I be filming walking into my house? Like, I wouldn't know that that's there. Like, who starts filming just walking in randomly? Obviously, I had to have staged that because you don't just film walking into your house.
Huh.
And so it's just silly things like that. Like, you can see like a cupboard opening with a jump rope. Or like one of my kids' arms on the side. And it's unexplained. I never claimed it was paranormal. But it's just to make fun at it because I like laughing at the paranormal and the silliness of the TV shows. It's
good to parody. I mean, we parody everything, politics, religion. We parody everything. You have to. It's a healthy thing to do, right? Sometimes it takes a dark subject and enlighten it a little bit. So, because we have enough grim shit on TV. I mean, like you said, the news. I don't even know what they call it the news. Just call it the horribles, right? We're going to watch the horribles today. Because it's like, for me, every time you watch news, it's like that same message. Well, puppies died today. In other news, kittens drowned. It's like, holy shit. You watch news, you're depressed. You very seldomly hear about these remarkable, wonderful stories that are enlightening. Instead, you have to find out with, podcasters and other content creators. That's where the positives come from most times.
Not watched a single midget of the news in over 10 years.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I was talking about this with a Navy SEAL recently. I was like, I do pay attention to the news to, maybe inform you what's going on. But sadly, when I want to find strong points that are real and non-filtered information, I hate to say it, but I'll watch Joe Rogan or other podcasts or some of these apolitical podcasts because they just speak what the facts are. They don't worry about sponsors and how do we keep people engaged with misery, because that's really what it is. And I hate that.
Oh, Rogan's fantastic at that. He is so unopinionated. It's just, this is the way it is and take it how you want. Next.
Yeah, he's the gold standard of podcasts, man. The gold standard. He's not afraid to, and people condemn him. They're like, oh, well, he's always changing his mind. No, he's not. He's evolving. It's what you're supposed to do. It's called learning, and he's quick to apologize for anything, even if it's insignificant. He'll make us a video and apologize. How many reporters in the news or politicians for that matter, if they blemish or make a mistake, you'll never hear one of these guys hopping. Like, hey, listen, I'm sorry for this. No, they're going to sweep it under the rug with more bullshit. So it's one of those.
You could not ever go on the news and say, hey guys, I messed up. I'm sorry. You'll be like, you know what? I said that. I stand by it. And I don't even care. Do not care that it is black and white and I am completely wrong, because I am not, because I believe that. And now I'm offended that you're offended that I said something that you didn't like.
I'm always apologizing. I have to. No, I because the truth be told, and I even in this podcast, I have this ability to speak over guests. I'm learning not to do that. Right? I'm still new to it. I'm still excited to talk about subjects. So I have to apologize. And I've even with the criticisms I have, I appreciate that because it enlightens me. So you have to learn and you have to evolve. And yeah, of course you have to apologize. It's human nature. All right. On this one.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm going to ask you this one. The Hills Have Eyes. Did you read about that?
That one's based on a true story.
Yeah. It's going to bother you a little bit, actually.
You are, hold on. Google, come here.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I did not even look up that one. Okay, tell me.
It's from Scotland, right? Sonny Beam and his clan were in Scotland, and they were in a pretty remote area where there wasn't, I'm sure there were sustenance and animals hunt, which makes this story troubling. They were basically killing people, enslaving people they captured with their clan, and eating them and torturing them and all sorts of horrible shit. And it wasn't until Scottish nobles captured and killed him that stopped. And so when I first read this, I was like, this has got to be myth or urban legend, but there's some written documentary or documents about it from that era. And so, granted, it's in Scotland. The makers of that, The Hills Have Eyes, based it on that story.
Holy buckets.
That should bother people, right? Because this is it once again, another pack of human beings feeding on people.
They ate over 1,000 people.
Yeah. Like when you read that story, flags should be up. Flags all day. That's terrible.
Like, how do you eat that many people? Like, I swear I have never eaten 1,000 cows in my life.
I might have. I like steak. But the point I make is, I can't even remember where I saw this. It was probably a movie or a show. But like once you start consuming the flesh of people, it alters your genealogy maybe. And like you go into a state of, insanity. I think I've read that somewhere. How true it is, I don't know. I'm going to look more into that. But the fact that that's a real story, Jesus, man.
I've heard that too, where like there's some sort of chemical like in the human flesh that like just doesn't set well like in our bodies and like digesting it, and it just makes you go bananas. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine the universe put that in design, right? Because if we don't do this, they're going to definitely eat each other. I don't know.
Have you ever thought about it? Like what somebody would taste like?
No, thank God. I'm really into steak, chicken, and, salads. I love trail mix. Never. I guess if, like, what was that movie with, it's in the 90s, and it was based on a movie about a soccer team that got stranded on a mountain. I can't remember the name of it.
I have no idea, but I know what the incident that you're talking about. Their plane crashed.
Yeah.
They were like up in the mountains for like months before help could get to them.
Exactly. Oh, Alive. It was called Alive. Yeah, that's. I maybe if I'm starving and I'm on a mountain and I love my family and I want to see him again, and John's already dead. Yeah, sure. I guess we're gonna eat John today, and portion him out so till help comes. Yeah, I guess maybe then. Or I'm on an island straight. Well, even though an island's not fair. You're on a desert. If you're on an island, tropical island, you could fish. Maybe catch a seagull. There's no reason to eat Chris, even if he's dead. Just bury Chris. I don't know. You? What about you?
If I'm on a tropical island, I can fish. I'm an avid outdoors woman. I fish every day in the summer, so I could figure out something for my life. I would not be eating Christopher whatsoever.
Right. You ever watch Survivor? I think it was the first season of Survivor. I forget Richard Hatch maybe went fishing, caught a shark. The shark bit him. He bit it back.
That guy's my new hero.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like on Survivor, national television, he gets bit by a shark and bites it right back.
He's going to send Jaws running for his life.
Yeah, that's a survivor, no question about it. Yeah, eating your buddy? I don't know. I mean, again, on the mountain, and it's, life and death. You want to see your family again. John's been dead a few days. He's frozen, so he's not contaminated. Okay, I'll bite.
They had to like twist that story that, they were cannibals, like to like appease the church and the media. And they like twisted. I don't remember exactly how they said it verbatim, but just to appease everybody, like, hey, it's okay because we did this in like our faith and we had to.
Yeah.
And it was just really weird how everybody like condemned them so bad until they brought their faith into it. And then like, oh, okay. Because it was for God. You guys are fine now. Like, shouldn't you just be happy that they're alive? And I mean, poor Chris, like
I'll be like, listen, if it makes you feel better, we prayed over Chris first. Yeah, he went to a better place. We prayed. We definitely didn't use salt either, for those of you that were concerned for this. So,
oh my God.
It's weird for people to condemn, like, how dare you survive? Piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, you get that person that condemned you for that and throw them, like, all right, let's do this. Put them in a scenario that's not even on the top of a mountain. Shove them in a house, lock them in there with no food, with one of their friends. I bet only one comes out. It's just human nature. It's a survival thing. It's in our brain.
You know, they did eat their shoes before they ate Chris and John, too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they went to the beans, the rice, and then they ran out of that. Hunger started setting in, and he's looking at Chris like, Chris, you're starting to look a lot like a taco.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
What movie as a kid scared you the most?
Candyman.
Candyman?
Yeah, Candyman. Those bees. I hate bugs. I hate bugs for the life of me. I will scream, cry, run away from June bugs. I've abandoned my children in a home. Oh my gosh, I'm going to hell for this. Okay, so a June bug got my house. Both my kids are sleeping in their bed. I abandoned them in the house and ran out the front door to the street, across the street to the single guy's house and started beating on his door. It's like midnight. He's like, what? I'm like, there's a June bug in my house and I just left my children there alone.
Hold on a minute. I gotta, what? Hold on.
Yep.
I gotta see what a June bug looks like. Hold on.
It is a flying
June bug
creature of death. And they have sticky hands and they grab you. And oh my gosh. And they make the loudest.
It's a beetle.
Unholy noise. Like you have to literally listen to this thing. It is.
I'm seeing it right now. It's a beetle. It's a beetle.
Yeah.
You have potentially possessed dolls in your house.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that.
And
I will talk to a demon all day. June bugs. I am like I said, my kids were little too. They were not even in school, and I abandoned them. I've got one in a bassinet, the other one in a crib still, and I was like, bye guys.
Damn.
I was gone. Yep. Ran across the neighbors.
Did you tell your kids this story?
Yeah.
Oh my God. How did they take that?
I did not get the Mom of the Year award that year.
Yeah, I'm saying, they're like, listen, kids, if there was a fire, I'll run in there and grab you. But if there's some June bugs, I guess it's over.
Oh, every man for himself. Absolutely. I'm sorry, guys. You're dead.
Damn.
The June bug might kill you.
I can't knock you for it because I told you a story. When I was a kid, we're out in the woods, we used to sneak out of our house midnight, 1 a.m, play manhunt, some friends. And in Florida, might add, in the middle of the summer, because we're crazy people, right? And so we're kids, and everyone sees, I guess, these shadow figures on the other side of the bank. And I go running over there into the middle of these woods looking for this because I had to see. That's why I told you I died in the movie right away. I run over there. I don't see anything. I'm discouraged. And if you don't know what a banana spider is, they're enormous. They were, for a long time, they were very populated here in Florida. I don't so much see them anymore now that I think about it. But I'm running after potentially evil spirits or whatever you might want to call it. And it didn't dawn on me as a kid to be like, holy shit, there's gators, spiders, snakes out here. What am I, crazy? So yeah, I get what you mean. Because I don't do spiders. I just don't.
That's all stuff that could legitimately kill you.
Yeah.
This bug there's nothing in Minnesota as far as a bug goes that could actually cause you death here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is a bee. I'm looking at an image right now. I feel like I could just stomp this thing to nothingness, right?
You can't. People eat them.
Oh, man.
They're gross.
That goes to that Survivor thing again, right?
You would think, except for I've got some really weird friends and they just like to show me how tasty they are and not to be afraid.
Yeah, because to them
these things come out in swarms, like the 7 deadly plagues or whatever.
Right.
That hit Jerusalem and the locusts came in like that and just swarmed that whole town. That's how June bugs are here in May and June. And I literally will not go outside. I won't even go in a house if there's lights on because they'll be right by the lights.
Huh.
I'm petrified.
Here in Florida in May and June, we have love bugs in troves where literally they will, if you're driving down the highway, you're going to have 1 billion dead bugs in your car day after. Moral story is you're going to have to wash your car daily. And I'm not sure why they exist. All they do is mate and die. In a lot of ways, they drown in your pool, they die naturally, they run into your car. Let's ask the professional here at Google about this. Love bug lifespan 92 hours.
Holy buckets.
92 hours, 72 at a low. You have You have 3 days to find someone to mate and move on. That sounds like high school, but the point, it's it's crazy, right? So
they're small though.
Yeah, they're tiny creatures, but they're infested everywhere. To get in your hair, to get in your mouth. You go bike riding in Florida in May and June, and more inland, not really by the beach where I was at. Not the beach is like, it's strange by the beach. Like you don't get very many mosquitoes by the beach unless you're by brackish water. But inland, yeah, it's an effect. And then there's these other things too. These caterpillars that hang everywhere. Ugh. Not a fan.
Legend says that your love bugs are synthetic, the result of a University of Florida genetics experiment gone wrong.
I've read that. They were supposed to design these things to kill mosquitoes. That's horseshit. They came here through shipping and nonsense in the early 70s, and they just don't have a purpose here. Like, red ants are all over the United States, and they're not from here. They're from like Brazil and shit. And then they came here and basically took over. So, you ever see?
No.
I got to tell you now. When I first moved to Florida, I went to my cousin's house, right? And I sat down in the grass, and it was my first encounter of red ants. And so you understand, they don't just bite you. The swarm gets on you, and it's like they communicate, and they just bite you all at once. And it is like getting shot a lot. It was horrible. I even even if you dive in the pool. So my cousin's like, jump in the water, jump in the pool. They're underwater, holding their breath, biting you. So they're really resilient, and they've destroyed the ecosystem, the majority anyway, right? They take, I guess there were black ants here at one point, and these red ants, these fire ants, basically took over. So I don't know.
Maybe they're like demonically possessed.
Probably. If anything came from hell, it's for certain those. And mosquitoes.
There are over 200 species of stinging ants.
Yeah. And those are top of the list for being bastards, all right? If I ever meet God, some of the questions are going to be, why mosquitoes? Why fire ants? And, why politics? Just in that order, Why did you allow politics? You're almighty, I don't know. Scariest movie for me, by the way, Pinhead, Hellraiser. That guy bothered me.
Spooky.
Yeah. He bothered me. Like just to look at him bothered me. And thank God, I haven't found any real stories to that. Like Amityville Horror, based on a real thing. The Conjuring, based on a real thing. What do you know about Amityville Horror?
That is Ocean Avenue, Rhode Island, right?
I think so.
Yeah, but that is with Butch DeFeo. He killed his entire family, and then I don't know if it was him or his lawyer or what, but then they said that it was, demonic possession and so on. Then he recanted in prison, did the whole HBO special, but then the Lutz family moved in, weren't even there a month, and they literally ditched all their belongings, never went back. And Edward Ray Warren showed up to that place too.
Huh.
So I think just the tragedy in itself, whether Butch was or was not possessed, we'll just leave that one out in the air because I have no idea. But just the stone tape theory, just that energy that was just expelled. It would be hard for me to believe that the Lutzes didn't experience something. But which was really weird though, is not one of them had a defensive wound from the gunshots. They were all laying in their beds just sleeping. How would you not hear that shotgun go off in the room next to you? And he shot 5 people, and not a one were disturbed.
Yeah, that's not a silent weapon either, right?
No. You can hear that thing for miles and miles away, and especially if it's in a house, your eardrums are going to hurt really, really bad.
Did he drug them?
I don't know if there's a toxicology report.
Gotta look into that.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing anything about that. So yeah, you're right. How? No, so there no shrapnel on the hands or arms.
Nothing. They were just laying belly down or on their side, peacefully sleeping. And then what's messed up is after he had annihilated them all, he took his happy booty to the bar. It was oh my gosh, you guys, somebody murdered my whole family. Here, come with me. And brings the entire bar back to the house, right? So they're just contaminating the shit out of this place. with, their fingerprints. It's like the whole crime scene is like just unreliable now for any type of like evidence. And then it's just, okay, well, you did this butch and now you're serving life in prison. I'm not saying that he didn't do it, but it's just really, really strange.
Is that guy still alive?
No, he actually just passed away, I believe a year ago.
Huh.
Or it might not even been that long ago. It might be within the last year.
What is that like, man? He allegedly, or more than likely, maybe possessed himself, right? Kills his family, goes to the bar, is like, hey, Bob, we got to tell him I had a rough night. I have to buy ammo tomorrow. Can you believe this? It's expensive now, right? How does that conversation go down? And then invites people back?
Yeah, the entire bar. Oh, he died March 12th of 2021 in prison.
Well, why did he invite the bar back? I got to look into that.
Well, because that's your alibi, right? You like run to the bar and like,
I see.
If I tell everybody, then nobody's going to suspect it's me, right?
I think that would be suspicious. Like, hey, man, my kids are at the house sleeping. Wink, wink. You guys want to go to my place and party? Bring everyone. Like, I don't know. That bugs me.
You like ran in like, yeah, everybody murdered my family. Oh my gosh, help me, come back and help my family that are all slaughtered.
I'll tell you another movie that not scared me, but disturbed me. Pretty disturbed. A couple of them actually, but one, for instance, there's a movie with Denzel Washington called Falling. You ever heard of that? Or Fallen?
Huh?
It's about a demon that just takes over people. And when that person's so compromised, like an example in the beginning, it's an old movie. I'm going to blow it. I don't give a shit. In the beginning of the movie, there's, that song by the Rolling Stones, Time, what I'm talking about? Time Is on Your Side?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it whistles and sings that a lot. And it was in this guy, like Denzel's the detective, and he finally gets his man. This guy's out been killing people. And the demon's talking shit to Denzel. This guy's about to be put to death. I think on a chair, in the movie, if I remember. It's been so long. I think on a chair. But just when the guy's about to get, put out, the demon leaves his body. So, look, this guy's useless to me now. I got to go. And the guy's like, holy shit, what am I doing here? What? And they fry him. Right? And so the moral of the story is that this demon is transferring bodies, and now it wants to harass Denzel again because it had a really good lengthy run with this other dude. And so you have to watch that movie. That one bothered me a lot because when you think about spirits, whether they be evil or courteous, whatever they may be, again, your brain's like a receptor, right? If you ever look at the construct of the brain, it's like a very complex computer, just biological. So if they're taking your body over and, you can't do shit about it, that concerns me at a great level. And if you take that idea and apply it to all the evil in the world, how many of these murderers out there, and I'm not giving anyone an alibi, so don't even think about it. I'm just saying, this is a what if scenario. What if these people are just possessed and then you kill them, you put them in prison and you execute them. And just before execution, these things leave them. And they're like, what the hell am I doing here? Why am I on this table with this needle in my arm? That's why that bothered me. What do you think of that?
It's kind of like the right movie with Anthony Hopkins, right? When he's doing the exorcisms and stuff, and the demon is bouncing around from one person to the next. I think that happens. I don't want to say a lot. I don't know how I want to word this properly, but so items, okay, we'll say like a Ouija board, right? People play it and then bad stuff comes through. So then the individual is like, okay, well, I need to get rid of this. So what do? I burn it. Most horrible idea ever. Don't burn your Ouija board, please, people.
Yeah, I've heard people say that to me, actually.
Because then at that point, you are releasing that entity out into the world to go into anyone and do whatever it wishes. It is no longer confined to that single object.
Damn.
And so, I don't know, it's creepy.
Yeah,
don't burn your stuff.
I don't remember who I just had this conversation with someone because I never subscribed to Ouija boards too. As a kid, I've seen them played with. I didn't play with them, not for any fear reason. I just thought it was silly. But they're like, yeah, you have to say goodbye at the end. Is that true?
So I own quite a few Ouija boards. I have never, ever played.
It's like you're rolling the dice.
I know, right? It's so weird. I do. Like, I actually have one that's on my keychain. It is like a little like handheld one. And I've got a tapestry and I've got a bunch. I do. I've never ever played.
Damn.
That Roland Doe. I respect it enough that there's a possibility it could go way left. So I won't do it. But then on the flip side, I'll use the SB7 spirit box. I'll use dowsing rods. I'll use the digital recorder and all of these other pieces of equipment. So what is the difference between the Ouija board and these other pieces of equipment that we utilize?
Well, some of the other equipment you're naming is scientifically created. I'm not sure the exact science. The Ouija board, on the other hand, where did that come from? Like, when was the first case at?
That was back in the 1800s. And
hold on, let's ask the know-it-all. Where did the Ouija board come from?
According to Wikipedia, the Ouija itself was created and named in Baltimore, Maryland, in 1890, but the use of talking boards was so common by 1886 that news reported the phenomenon taking over the spiritualists' camps in Ohio.
All right, so
this, you have to remember, like, this is back when people had the curiosity cabinets, right? With like the shrunken monkey heads or shrunken heads just in general.
Right.
And they had like the little scrying rooms like in a closet. So everybody was really into like the mysticism and we'll just say occult for just a layman's term at this point. And so everybody was just really into the, like, we want to see what's on the other side, you know? And
well, I imagine whoever developed it was like, hey man, we need to speak with them. They can't, if hype, again, it kind of makes sense because if they're just pure energy and they can manipulate energy to move things, why not have something that has letters and numbers on it for them to communicate? I mean, right. I guess it makes sense, right? Because they're not going to type on your computer. Or I hope not, because that's expensive. But I don't know. It does make sense why that would. Yeah, because you're talking 1890. Yeah, it makes sense why they would do that. Because, right. Yeah, I could see it.
So now, but you have your hands on this board, right? Or I have my hands on a recorder. We're doing the exact same thing. We're still speaking to people we don't know who we're talking to. Why is it so bad for the Ouija board to be played? But it's okay for me to use my other pieces of equipment. Like, why is there a difference? Why is it one is so taboo and the other one is just like, meh, sounds like a great time, guys?
Well, that's because you have a lot of naysayers that we want science. Okay. Well, here's a tool that will be very scientific-y like, right? I mean, I guess that's what it is. But if you're talking about spirits that again, have to manipulate energy to move things, it would make prime sense to have a board with numbers and letters and, an obulus or something to point at those, said numbers and letters. Because then if you try to have all the English words on a board, you'd have to buy a house and dedicate walls to it and then hope that the ghost doesn't, want to stick around and actually point out sentences. So yeah, I get it.
You heard of the table game?
Makes me wonder. Maybe our approach is different. Maybe our approach is all wrong. You just gave me some ideas for when I do get in the field due to the documentary. All right.
You heard of the table game before?
Not familiar. Well, wait, spin the bottle? I know all about that one.
Okay. This is a table, not a wine bottle from your mother's cabinet that she drank. So it's actually like a three-legged pedestal table, right?
Right.
And so then, like how you would put your hands on the planchette for the Ouija board, you put your hands lightly on the table. And apparently this table will rock and roll and spin around, can go upstairs with the energy of the spirit manipulating it.
Huh.
You have to watch this on YouTube. It is gnarly.
I'll have to check it out. I don't know. I'm getting a lot of ideas of what I need to do. And it's like, I don't approach anything with filters on, right? I might not believe wholeheartedly in a lot of things, but I also don't, I don't say no, because I can't do that. It's irresponsible. And I say this to a lot of people. If you want to disprove something, go out and do the very work you're asking them to do to prove it. It's only fair, you know? Can't sit at home like, nope, that shit's not real. I know because I know the Lord, or whatever it is that you're going to say, right? It's just not fair. You've got to go out there and prove otherwise. And now you have like Christian Science and other religious sciences that are now starting to explore the idea that there just might be life out there, or the ghosts might be real, because I think science is getting to the point where we're going to start proving these things, and religion's got to get on board because they still need their money at the end of the day. So,
like, go back to the right, Father Gary Thomas, the actual Exorcist, you know, that the movie was based off of.
Yeah.
Like, he completely says that talking to ghosts, paganism, witches, enchantments, Ouija board, consulting with ghosts, all of that is like just completely forbidden.
I wonder, you know, that I got to tell you, not knocking it, but organized religion has this habit of finding ways to control, right?
Yeah.
It's like marriage. You know, at what point in life did we like, hey, you really like this person? Yeah, we're going to need you to sign this contract. And, you know, in case shit goes wrong, we have ways to split things up, right? That's not how it started, right? If you go back to the union of man and woman, there wasn't even a priest. There's definitely no lawyers, and there was definitely no contracts. How did we get to this point? Well, I'll tell you how. Rules were established by an organized, either religion, government, or control factor, or royal family, whatever it is, and they wanted to be able to document stuff. And they're like, well, did John and Jane really like each other? And so we're gonna have this formal proposal on paper, and then to track their lineage and their hereditary blah blah blah, we're gonna document. And then if it doesn't work out, how do we separate their estates evenly amongst one another, even if one was the breadwinner or the other way? You know what I mean? It blows my mind. Like, look, if I meet a girl and I like her, and this is my rule moving forward, let's be together, no contracts. Because here in Florida, if you live with someone, if you have the same address as someone after 7 years and you're a couple, they technically treat it like you're married, and they could divide your estate. So you could just bypass that whole let's sign the contract and take my last name nonsense. You know, I don't know when we got to that point, but now to that point of why priests are like, well, it's forbidden. Why are you the only one that gets to talk to them? I'm curious. I want some answers, you know? So rather I have to walk around with blind faith and say, well, as long as I don't kill the neighbor, sleep with cheat on the wife and steal or blah, 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 I'm going to go to this puffy white place up in the sky. And we subscribe to this and follow it blindly. So for the priests that say these things, and again, I'm going to have a reverend and an archbishop on. I'm going to ask some of these questions. I'm going to be polite, but I don't understand. I don't get, I don't get it personally.
You can do it, but then I can't. Oh, and by the way, going back to the whole marriage thing, I'm a full-hearted, like at the beginning of the Braveheart movie, how they like went out into the middle of the woods and he like wrapped a cloth around her hand and his hand and they called it a day.
Yeah. That's
my idea of getting married if I ever was to do something like that.
That's perfect, right?
Right?
Meet some girl, like, hey, listen, I'm going to cut your hand. I'm going to cut mine. We're going to shake hands. We'll be blood people for life. So I would take that over a ring, like diamonds. Think about what a diamond is. People are fools. Oh. They think this is in short supply. There's endless carbon on this planet. Diamonds are in abundance. They're better tools. They're just pretty, but you could also make other things pretty. It's crazy that people, that came from Tiffany's, I read. I didn't know this, but Tiffany's made diamonds what they are today. Or was it?
Yeah.
Or it's another one too. I forgot the other one's name. Another company, they get like an agreement. And like, we're going to say this stuff's really rare, but it's every place.
That's why I bought myself my own ring for myself because I like it. I have a sapphire,
right.
A 4-carat one. And I bought it for myself. I'm not married. It's on my left hand. So it looks like I might be, but it's just for me.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wear a ring on my left hand. I'm not married. I was married once. Didn't work out. What happened? I had to sign paperwork. Then there was payments to be made thereafter. That's the reality. Like, wait, so we didn't like each other? I got to pay for it now? What? That's like buying a car. Like, all right, this car didn't work out. It's a lemon. Like, all right, here, we'll take it back. It's only been like 10 days, but you have to pay at least $100 a month for the car. Child support, I get. That makes sense. You're supposed to take care of your kid. But alimony? What's that? You know what I mean?
I don't think that's a thing in Minnesota.
Here in Florida, they'll take everything they can.
Like, even common law marriage is not a thing here.
Yeah, Florida, I don't know. I've been hearing that a lot. I love this state. It's beautiful here, but crazy shit happens here. From the paranormal to UFOs to law, it's crazy.
You guys are bonkers. You really are.
Yeah, man, everything happens here. Serial killers, UFOs, orange apes.
Zombie people under a bridge.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was in Miami, wasn't it?
West Palm.
Guy, what was that? He took...
bath salts.
Yeah. It was,
went and ate the homeless dude's face, just do.
Jesus.
And then like attacked him and totally chewed his face off. That guy was way too high.
This place is crazy, right? But it's beautiful, right? That's why you think people would come here to calm down. Like, God, it's so gorgeous here. I'm going to kill someone. You know, I don't get it. I don't know. I mean,
that or they moved to the Midwest and get that timeshare.
Yeah. Because here in the Midwest, if you ever get bored,
right? We have lots to do in the winter.
Yeah, you know, you don't like the neighbor? No problem. Just take care of them. We have these new areas where you could bury people. No one will ever know. Or if you want a vat of acid, you could just buy it from them. You know what I mean? Like, it's creepy.
There's a lot of farming communities out here, and so vats of acid are probably needed for some sort of farming reason. I have no idea what, but that's what I'm going to guess.
I've flown over to the Midwest many of times in life, you know, going to Vegas or LA, and yeah, it's a lot of openness. I guess that would drive someone mad if you just, I don't know. That's inexcusable. Never mind. I have no idea what puts these people at that point. When you kill and eat people
in the house.
Yeah, when you kill people in troves, I think you forfeit your rights as a human, and you should be able to be put in a laboratory for study for indefinite till they figure out how you work, right? I don't know. That's just my opinion. I know it sounds inhumane, but for crying out loud, the guy's eating people, making shrines.
John Wayne Gacy actually submitted his brain to science so that it could be studied because of his afflictions in his mind.
Yeah, that guy had he was full-blown talking to someone that wasn't there, right?
No, he was the killer clown. So he would bribe young men and boys back to his house with the promise of weed and alcohol.
Damn.
And then, because he was a clown, Pogo the clown, for parties or whatever, he would show them a magic trick with handcuffs, right?
Right.
And so he'd do it on himself first, and then he'd get out of them. So then he'd do it on them and put their hands behind their back, and at which point then they are rendered helpless. And then he handcrafted this chair for assaulting them, and then he would murder them and buried them underneath the floorboards of his home.
And this guy was a clown?
Yeah, he was at little kids' birthdays and stuff. He was hanging out with the governor of Illinois and their senators, and he was kind of a prominent figure in the community. And everybody talked about what a great, fantastic guy he was, how much they loved him. And then, under the floorboards were 20 some odd.
Meanwhile, people like me, tattooed up, and we work out a little bit, and we look like that creep. We're the ones that get the eyeballs, right? Then you got this guy. He's like, oh, he's such a nice guy. He lives next door. He's really quiet and hangs out. Part of the community. And he's just murdering people.
Yeah. Yep. It was good. It was a little gross. I've got actually, so when they demolished the house initially, right, because they had to dig up all the bodies from the floorboards. And so he actually mapped out for the police and the FBI or whatever where all the bodies were dug or buried, under the floor. And he didn't miss a one. But then after that, so then they had to demolish the whole house. So I actually have dirt from that underneath the house.
I had a couple of homicide detectives on. They both worked a case over in, I think it was the other coast, Seattle area. And there was this serial killer there. And they say, in short, they capture the guy, they have him in custody, and he's like talking with him, like he's like, a regular person. That's how psychotic this guy was, because when he's talking to cops, he's caught. He's like, "Hey guys, how you doing? Let me get a burger," because he was helping out with finding bodies. And when they interviewed him about the one of their victims that got away, his entire demeanor, the way his voice changed, his gaze changed, everything about him altered. That shit scared the shit out of people. That guy went from being
Gary Ridgway.
What was it again?
Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer.
I think so, yeah. Cloyd Steiger was on the show. He was one of the homicide detectives. I think there was it wasn't him. It was another one. I forgot his damn name right now. I'll get it. It's on one of my podcasts with Cloyd Steiger. That's where you can reference the name. Forgive me for forgetting. I've just been research. Anyway, the point I make is he was a very regular guy. He would speak to you normally, burgers, shoot the shit, laugh, be an asshole. But when they discussed that person that got away, he altered. Like his gaze, his body language. They were telling me his body language and the way he spoke and the look in his face, like the predator who is hearing about the prey that got away, it disturbed him. And really, you could write as many scary movies as you want. It's moments like that in real life that should really, really trouble people. I don't know. That bothers me to hear that and then image that in my mind. That should put a chill down your spine, period. And that lets you know. And how many people are out there that are like that you just don't know?
Ted Bundy.
Yeah. They have, what if they have resources, right? How many, I was reading this study that most serial killers position themselves in position, or the top apex ones, position themselves in relevantly strong positions in life, like attorneys, physicians. I'm not trying to, my bad if I'm insulting your line of work, but the point is how many are out there we don't catch because they have resources? There's no body, all right? They're not leaving any kind of trail. That should bother people.
So it's like the psychopath, right?
Right.
The stereotypical, one that checks off every box is extremely intelligent, extremely charismatic, charming. You are going to love this person. You are going to brag about this person to your mother, your friends, everybody, invite them over for dinner. Here's what people don't understand, though, is your typical serial killer is not a psychopath. Because all today's serial killer count now is you only have to kill 2 people to be considered a serial killer. And so the ones that are actually psychopaths, their numbers are, 50, 100, 200, 300.
Right.
They're very, very methodical. They are very organized. It is the frenzy kill where they messed up somehow the previous person that they wanted to get. So now they're just trying to rush and just nab whoever. And that's when they get caught. That's where they mess up. They get caught up in their feels. Now, the smart, calm, collected psychopath serial killer, you're never going to catch them. And they are in those prominent positions of power. You can go online and, take a psychopath, examination, for lack of a better word. It's 20 questions and just kind of see where you rank on the scale.
I'm afraid to take that test.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty charismatic, intelligent person. At least, I think so anyway. I don't know about the rest of you. But, the hallmarks of a sociopath, that could be spoken for a lot of people.
So sociopath is just more anti-social.
Right.
Just more of a loner, just want to be alone.
All right, so that's not me. I'm good then. Okay, good.
Right. The psychopath is going to be that social butterfly, but wants to be antisocial. It's kind of a toss-up, right? And then there's the no empathy whatsoever. No matter, you will do whatever you have to do to get that next foot up in your life. No matter what that is to each individual, you will have, a mission for yourself and you will accomplish it.
Huh. I'm going to take that test, so I'm not telling anyone the results, though.
Right. And then they have the dark empath psychopath now, because psychopaths can also be empaths, right? as far as like mediumship and like psychic abilities,
Right.
where you can feel other people's emotions and relate to them that way, but genuinely in yourself, you don't feel anything for any other human being.
Damn. I got to tell you, it rings a bell with some of these cases I did read about. You know, the next time I get one of the detectives on, which I will have them, I believe so. I think next week I have is that next week? No, the week after I have a homicide detective on. I'm going to ask him, if you stumble across Dexter Morgan in real life, where he's legitimately killing the worst of the worst people on earth, do you arrest him? I don't know. What do you think about that? If there's a serial killer that's only targeting other murderers, rapists, you know, the worst of the worst, I would love to hear from people's comments on that. Because there's got to be some people like, well, it's inhumane and he should just be jailed, or, you know, or just let him be because he's just cleaning up the shit.
Everybody plays Dexter as a psychopath. He is the farthest from a psychopath. He is helping you people, and
Right.
you are just too blind to see it. He is taking out all the people that are going to hurt your mother, your children, your best friend, your auntie.
Right.
All of those disgusting people. He has more empathy than you have for him. He is way better of a person than you, first of all.
Well, I mean, consider this. What is it? I don't know what it costs to house a person in prison, but I'm sure it's expensive, right? He's going to
about $1,300 a day.
So yeah, he's saving hey, look, I'm doing you guys a favor. All right. Look how much money you're going to save. Or is it just prisons an industry and a business and they need to get paid? I don't know, but you're right. Like I'm sure, look, it's a cop, although he's retired. Maybe he'll be like, look, you know, if I was on the force, like, nope, there's no room for vigilantes and blah, 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 versus he's retired. Like, good. Get rid of these jerk offs, right? You know? Because you can't jabron someone for going out there and handling filthy people. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I'm going to, again, people that comment on this or, you know, reach out, I want to hear people's thoughts. I want to poll on that.
Yes, it would be interesting to see. I just dislike when people are called psychopaths or crazy and they're completely like
Rational.
They're not psychopaths. They are knowing what they're doing and they are empathetic to the general population.
Well, I read
psychos are just, we don't care about you, your feelings, or anybody else's. They only care about themselves and their mission in life.
So you're telling me, based on what you just said, every CEO is a psychopath. Because that is by definition the CEO of a company. I don't give a shit who I step on. I'm getting here. This is who I am. I'm going to get the top dollar. I'm going to make us great, no matter what sacrifices. So yeah, CEOs are psychopaths. That makes sense.
Most of them are. A lot of politicians.
Sure. But morticians. Politicians, no doubt. Those guys are definitely psychopaths. Because they blatantly lie to people just to get, just so they can get votes. Right? That's crazy. Yeah, you got a good point there. Wow, we got to reevaluate our entire system.
Absolutely. Like the amount of psychopaths that are walking the streets every day is just mind-boggling. And the doctor that actually wrote the psychopath test, he actually lives up in Canada. I can't think of his last name. His first name is Robert. Amazing guy. And he's twisted and tweaked his test here and there over the years, but he has like the main structure for what everybody in the world goes off of to like find out their level of, you know, whether or not they're a psychopath.
Yeah.
Or like the dark empath. It's or like even a dark triad, you know, the Machiavellianism, the psychopath, and the narcissist all just kind of balled up into one. And like they're the like most evil, conniving, manipulative people in the world, pretty much.
You know, you're right. Because how many people start in politics and are like, look, man, I really want to do well by the people. I care. And then it gets to that point where they're going to get to the next level. And we're like, look, man, I know you care about the people, but if you want votes, you got to bullshit a little bit. You know, I mean, and then at some point it goes from them bullshitting a little bit so they can get what they want to help their constituents to, I like this power and I don't want to relinquish it. And what do I do now to get more power so I can be in a better position? You're right. That's definitely the hallmark of a psychopath.
You really think they're that ignorant though? And they're just like, whoa.
Well,
Really, they just had this epiphany, like just they were blindsided
Well,
that
no,
this is like how stuff really is.
undoubtedly, if you're in school and you're going to the debate club and you take, pleasure in outwitting another person to the point where they feel humiliated, sure, you're an asshole. I think there are definitely some politicians out there that genuinely want to do well by people. And I care about humanity. I think that we should do, I think a lot of things for humanity. I have great ideas, but what happens to me when I get into a position when I have great ideas, but the only way to beat this very wealthy, charismatic nut job that I'm up against is I might have to bullshit a little bit. And then I bullshit a little bit. And then I really like the reception I get from being in that position. Does it change me? I don't know. I want to say I'm stronger than that, but I'd be lying. I've never been tested that way, so I have no idea. I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I'm thinking about it now. And when you relate the psychopath that's killing people with no empathy versus a guy who's basically getting paid at the top tier to lie to people and do it at whatever cost, that's a good question. Where's the line drawn?
One breaks the law and one doesn't.
It's true. Well, maybe some politicians aren't exactly on the legal side of things, but they have the right people behind them to make sure that doesn't come to light. So.
Okay, true.
Yeah.
True.
Like I'm not speaking negative about any particular family out there, but we have some considerably royalty names out there that have done some pretty unthinkable things, and we don't hear very much about it today. But it's the nature of it. So, well, before we close, Harley, because we're going to be doing this again, we covered a lot of stuff. Let's finish with this. Let's finalize this subject with compare a movie or I guess pick a movie that you saw that makes you want to go investigate that location 100% because you have faith that whatever you're going to find is legit.
The Shining, and I'm actually going there in June.
Holy shit.
I am, to Colorado, to Estes Springs. I'm so excited. And I got a room on the 4th floor, and it is super duper outrageous expensive, but it's worth it, I hope.
Are you taking a film crew with you?
No, I'm just going by myself.
Take a camera.
Well, yeah, I'll take my camera, but
Right.
I was supposed to have some people that were going to come with, and then they just kind of backed out for whatever reason. But yeah, so I'm going in 2 months. Do you want to come?
Where is this place?
Estes Park, Colorado.
I can't make promises, but I'll definitely look at it because I'm supposed to be, if I'm starting this documentary, I was going to start in summer, but I've come to the realization I got to build more network and find more facts because some of the places I had highlighted on the map, turns out it just was impractical to go there, but that sounds like interesting to me.
Yeah. So like the 4th floor rooms are, I think for the 2 nights, it's over $1,000, but like the other
that's
3
not bad.
floors,
right? For a place
people that have like real jobs.
Oh, wow.
But the other 3 floors, like the rooms are just regularly priced. So I already have the 4th floor room. So if you want to come, then you could just like get any other room on the other 3 floors. If you want, or just another 4th floor room. You can totally go investigate there for 2 days.
And what dates are this on?
I am going June 7th and checking out June 9th.
All right. Yeah, because my birthday's June 15th. So,
Is it really?
yeah, I'm a Gemini. Got problems. So,
oh gosh, you sassy man.
I really am. It's terrible, man. I'm all over the place. Yeah, I mean, I would love to do that, especially if someone else is there that's in the know. Because look, I have little to no experience in anything. I've never witnessed anything ever. That's why I started doing this podcast. This podcast, I have cops on it, health and well. I'm going to be restructuring, so I start spreading it out. I made sure at the beginning of the podcast, I really hammered in with some ufology and paranormal stuff because I was so excited to speak of that stuff. But I'm going to be restructuring to make room for other things. But definitely one of the reasons I got involved is because I want to get out there. I want to meet people that are going to know me, go to the places. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to check schedule. I might even take some podcast equipment. I could do it on the road if I have to. All right, let's see what.
Like, I'm driving, so I'm taking my Silverado out there, and so I'll have all of my equipment with, like literally every stitch of equipment that I own will be coming with on this trip.
Yeah, it's the 8th. That's a Friday, Saturday. Okay, I mean that's feasible.
No, June.
Yeah,
it's like a middle of the week.
Oh, is it? Oh, I was in July. My bad.
Wait, what? It's a Tuesday, Wednesday, check out Thursday.
All right, cool. If I do it, I drive too because I personally believe airplanes are supposed to fall out of the sky. I don't fly well. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, I'll consider it. I would really like to
go to
that.
Yellowstone.
That's a no-brainer. I have to. That's a super volcano with all sorts of interesting stuff going on. I've even heard people say that you could see elk and other animals just kind of stand out in the open, just greet them. So I'd be down.
If you want to drive up, cause I'm making a whole road trip out of it. So you could come with me to Deadwood, South Dakota.
Yeah.
The Old West.
Yeah, let me write that down. You know what? Because I'm going to have to look. I'm going to have to connect with you, right? Because what I want to do is I'm
making like a whole week of this.
Yeah, I intend, everyone I speak to in a show, by the way, it's part of the network I'm creating, right? At the beginning, the ufology people, the paranormals, even the afterlife, because I want to, when I finally go out and document, I want a pretty accurate roadmap. I don't want to just go someplace and hope. I want to go to the higher percentages of so the success rate should be north of 70% wherever I go. Granted that there's this possibility that spirits don't want to deal with me because I'm a jerk, and aliens definitely not, because I would question them to pieces. They would have to render me unconscious. I wouldn't leave alone. Bigfoot, I don't know. I don't know, because I'm not good enough to say I got to see it and I filmed it at a distance. I have to, I have to run at this thing, grab it by the hair, get some samples, or maybe, I don't know, knock it the fuck out with something. I don't know. What do you knock Bigfoot out with?
I've got my permit to carry, so I'm shooting.
Yeah, agreed. Take it back.
I'm not letting Bigfoot come and eat me. I'm shooting it.
Yeah. Throw it on the table. Look what we got. Proof. How much do we get for this?
Is it cannibalism if you eat Bigfoot?
Yeah. I don't know. I listen,
thought it was a monkey.
I'm not kidding. Listen to this. Is it illegal to kill Bigfoot? It says Washington has laws. There's laws in Washington. How do you pass a law for something that may not be real? We don't even have laws that fully...
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there's not even laws that fully protect us.
Right.
I don't know. That blows me away.
And aliens aren't real, but Bigfoot, there's laws, and we protect him.
Yeah.
Alrighty. All right.
What if you
Washington?
What if you saw an alien, you took a picture of it, it sued you?
Oh my gosh, that would be the best lawsuit ever.
Yeah, I didn't give you permission for that picture.
I would take it home and love it forever.
Yeah. You get a ghost and you exorcise a ghost from a demon from someone, and it takes you to court. Yeah, I had an agreement with that person, okay, and you didn't honor my agreement. And it sues you. It's terrible. Well, I can't believe I'm going. I'm sorry.
At least.
Yeah, right. The very minimum, answer some questions, man. For crying out loud. Harley, it's been perfect. I had a great time talking to you. We're going to do it again soon. I assure you this much. And I'm going to talk to Harley in post, and I wish everyone a good evening or good day or whatever it is for you. And Harley, say goodnight.
Night. Have a good one.
Take care.